If you've considered relocating to White Rock, British Columbia, this video is meant to be your savior. We're going to cover all the things that I wish every home buyer knew before they move to White Rock, BC, so they can absolutely be guaranteed to love the next home that they buy. This means that if you want to love the next home that you buy, and if you're buying a home in White Rock, BC, you're definitely going to want to watch this video. And make sure you hang around to the end, because I'm going to share with you which neighborhood in White Rock specifically I think you get the absolute best bang for your buck. So let's get into it. My name is Darren, a realtor and team lead with the German group from McDonald Realty in Surrey, BC. If this is your first time on the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Surrey, BC or White Rock, BC, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you are the very first to learn about all the new updates and current market activities going on for each area. We get calls and texts every single day from people just like you looking to make their move to Surrey or White Rock. And we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days or 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or book a time to speak with us online over Zoom. And we'll be happy to make your move to Surrey or White Rock a smooth one. So I'm assuming that anybody watching this is probably from out of town, whether that's somewhere in the Lower Mainland or other parts of Canada or even other parts of the world. Hello, my international friends.
Hello there.
Let's talk about White Rock a little bit. So White Rock is actually a relatively small community. It used to be part of Surrey, which is a really big municipality in the Lower Mainland, but that all stopped as of 1957 because the city of White Rock really started to look like the downtown city of Surrey. Not in a bad way, it was just kind of developing that way. So the residents of White Rock said, no more, we want a success from the city of Surrey and become our own city, which they did. In terms of city size, it's just a little baby city. It's about 5 square kilometers, just a bit bigger than that. But it does have, as of 2021, approximately 22,000 residents. And of course, as of the day of filming this video, it's certainly more than that. White Rock is a little beachside community, and it's known for many things. It's known for the White Rock, in which it gets its name from, literally a big white rock sitting on the beach with a really cool story behind, how the rock got there, whether it's true or not, who knows, but it's a really cool story. So you want to check that out anyways, but it's known for the White Rock. It's known for having Canada's longest pier. This is a pier where locals love to walk down and take a stroll in the wintertime, summertime, anytime like that. And it's usually dressed up really beautifully at night as well. There's always lots of people fishing off there. Sometimes you'll see people jumping into the water, which I don't think you're supposed to do anymore, but really, really beautiful pier and Canada's longest. It's also known for having the steepest road in the Lower Mainland, which is Oxford Street, which is aggressively steep. So steep, in fact, that oftentimes in icy winter conditions, it gets shut down by the city for use. And of course, I would have to tell you about famous fish and chips from White Rock Beach as well. So if you're looking for really good fish and chips, you want to check that out as well. But you're looking to buy a home in White Rock, so you need to know a little bit about the community and you need to know what's going on with real estate. As a little bit of a general market overview, White Rock is an interesting community because originally, anyways, it was a really old community, a kind of a small beach house style beachside community. There is tons of different styles of homes for all sorts of varying budgets. There's many senior orientated condominium buildings in the area. This is where they have age restrictions on the inhabitants of the building, usually about 55 plus or older, and those are sprinkled all up on the upper White Rock area, which are usually quite close at walking distance to the shopping and the mall and the groceries and all that sort of stuff. White Rock doesn't have many large townhome developments. However, they do have little niche kind of boutique townhome developments where you might see 2, 4, 8, maybe 10, 12, 16 units kind of scattered throughout the city. So there's not any really big kind of gated communities like you might see in other areas of the city of Surrey, but there is townhomes in White Rock as well. Then you start getting into the different categories of homes, and there's really something for everyone. You've got your entry-level homes. These tend to be more of the BC box style homes, the kind of rectangle style, and those are scattered around different areas, but you tend to find them in areas that haven't seen a lot of development. development. Now, there's development all over White Rock, don't get me wrong, but these tend to be gathered in similar areas. I'm going to show you these areas a little bit later on in this video. Then you go a little bit of a step above and you start to get into some of your more premier homes. Now, White Rock obviously is an oceanside community, which means with oceanside comes having a view. You tend to see some of these more premier homes scattered throughout certain areas as well, and usually they do come with pretty substantial or pretty nice views. And then we get into our incredible HGTV style mansions, beautiful homes. These are homes that you would expect to see on The Real Housewives of White Rock, which isn't really a show that exists, but they're absolutely incredible. And what's really neat about them is they're usually done in styles that are just ultra modern. They are just incredibly attractive. They've got features in the homes that you may have never even heard of or had the opportunity to experience because they're so new and so kind of forward thinking. So you've got these mega mansions and these really kind of incredible properties, and you've also got the waterfront properties as well. Now, there's not really a huge waterfront area in White Rock, and one of the reasons for that is because the main drag, which is called Marine Drive, actually runs right along the beach. So there is a small portion of kind of more cliffside type waterfront homes that are pretty awesome and pretty beautiful. But for the most part, the oceanfront homes aren't really a big thing in White Rock. It's more about having the view. So whether it is an apartment or a townhome or a townhome with a rooftop deck or a detached home, you know, different size and age and whatever that is, prices can vary incredibly wildly if you've got an ocean view. An ocean view just completely changes the game in terms of price, and people will pay an premium to get homes with these sorts of views. People will also pay a premium depending on how easily accessible the beach is from the property. And believe it or not, you will also pay a premium for a home depending on whether it is on the north side or the south side of an east-west running road. This is for a reason that you probably wouldn't have guessed, but it's because of power lines. The properties on the north side of the east-west running streets have typically power lines in front of them, which impedes the view. So people tend to prefer the homes on the south side of these roads to get more of an unobstructed view of the beautiful Semiahmoo Bay. So I'm going to do a screen share with you now, and I want to show you where a lot of these homes are going to be located within the White Rock neighborhood. Just before I jump into that though, I do want to let anybody know watching this that might be from out of province or out of country about our BC Home Buyers course, which we're offering free to our YouTube subscribers. This is a course packed with over 3 hours of information and learning all about buying a home in BC. We created this because we want people to experience a great experience when they purchase a home anywhere in British Columbia, regardless if it's in a market that we serve or not. So if you're interested in checking that out, make sure you take a peek in the description and you'll be able to find a link to access all the course information for free. Okay, so let's jump into the screen record here, and I'm going to show you a little bit about White Rock and generally where these homes are located if you're looking to purchase. So first of all, let's remember that White Rock is not overly big, but one key kind of thing that a lot of, or attraction, not thing rather, but one key attraction that a lot of the development in White Rock kind of revolves around is really the Semiahmoo shopping center area. So you've got, just lots of shopping options. There's lots of food options, restaurant options, all that sort of thing. But you've also got the major grocery store in White Rock here as well, which is Save on Foods, and there's a Nature's Fair on the other side of the street, which is quite nice. So when I was talking about some of the senior orientated buildings, you tend to get a lot of those kind of gravitating near this Semiahmoo shopping center area. Now, that area is all going to be redeveloped in the near future. There's a huge plan that's coming down the pipe for that area. We actually did a video on that, so if you're interested, we will link that below in the description. You can kind of check that out. But that's where you tend to find a lot of them kind of in this area right here for those senior occupied apartments. Now, that's where a lot of the apartments actually generally are located as well. And that's not just for seniors, that's for, all different sorts of apartments. There is some other apartments kind of scattered over through this area here as well. They tend to be a little bit older. but there is some as well. Now there's apartments scattered all throughout White Rock as well, but those are where they kind of tend to be more gravitated towards. When it comes to townhomes are kind of scattered throughout White Rock here as well, but typically in this more flatter area. Now, the area that really starts to kind of drop off as around Roper here, where it starts to get really quite steep and the hill becomes quite substantial. This is where you start seeing a lot of the homes kind of come into play. So everything that's usually multifamily ends up kind of in this upper White Rock area here, where you've got townhomes, apartments, and some more of your modest detached homes, like those BC box kind of basement entry style homes. When we're talking about more modest homes, of course, this area right here, which is in the catchment of Earl Marriott or Samuel Secondary, you will find a lot of them here where it is kind of more flat, your more traditional type homes, as well as around Centennial Park here as well. There tend to be a lot of older homes in this area as well. You will see a lot of, popping up new development type homes in these neighborhoods, but they're still, relatively older neighborhoods generally, where you're going to get some of those more modest homes, and they not always will have a view. Most likely they won't, because of the flatness of the area. So they tend to be a little bit better in price and whatnot. Now, if you want to get into some of the more premier homes, those are anything there where you're going to start to have a view. So as we go down the hillside here and we get kind of beneath that Roper area or the Buena Vista Avenue area, that's where you really start to have a view type properties. So the homes aren't necessarily always even like the most premier homes. It's just because they have a view, which makes them quite expensive. But you definitely are going to find some really nice ones in that area. So anything kind of on the hillside here, a couple blocks up from the beach, or you get over to these name streets here as well. White Rock actually ends on 160th, but when you start getting over to like Lee Street, Parker Street, Maple Street, Stevens Street, anything in here, it is quite steep in this area. So even though the properties or the streets rather run north-south, because of how steep it is, a lot of them will have, a lot of the properties will have really nice patios and quite nice views on them as well, which is quite good. And if we're going to jump into some of the more expensive big boys, I'll call them, that's where it tends to be where you get anything really close to the beach. So whether it's, just up off Marine Drive or maybe Victoria, usually a block or two up from the beaches where you start to get some of these kind of more substantial, bigger properties. This is actually a really nice area up here. It's not overly well traveled because it's not really close to all the kind of commercial and stuff in White Rock, but you can see where some of these oceanside properties right on the cliff here are. Now, these people have really incredible sets of stairs that they would have to take to get down to the beach, but nonetheless, they still have beach access from their properties. But up even in this area, you tend to get a little bit of a hilly area in here, and there's some really beautiful properties, especially because of the lot sizes. When you're looking kind of in this area of White Rock, a lot of the lot sizes are quite small. So they're, maybe 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 on a big day. That's what the lot sizes are. And they're usually, built north-south. So there's your neighbors are really quite close to you. But when you get over to this area of White Rock, you've got a lot of the bigger properties, which means you can kind of build bigger and more fancy homes in that area. Now, before I let you go from this video, there's a few considerations that I want you to take before you make a decision on whether you think it's a great idea to move to White Rock or not. Here's number one. If you have kids, White Rock is an incredibly hilly area, and it's not overly well served by schools. So there is two elementary schools in the neighborhood. There is Peace Arch Elementary and there's White Rock Elementary. Those are kind of in upper White Rock and more of the flatter areas. So if you're ending up in some of the more of those premier areas where they tend to be quite hilly, it's pretty difficult for those little legs to walk up those hills. So just be prepared to jump those kids in the car if you got to run them to school 5 days a week. Now, if you've got kids that are a little bit older and maybe they're going to the high schools, the interesting thing about White Rock, even though it's so small, White Rock is actually served by 3 different high schools depending on where you are in the city. None of the high schools are actually located in White Rock. They're all actually at least on the Surrey side of 16th or further. So they're not easily accessible from a lot of the areas of White Rock. So you're usually going to be running anybody in high school over to the schools by car as well. The next thing I want you to know is it's incredibly busy in the summertime in White Rock. So it's amazing to live in a beachside community. I mean, who wouldn't want to have that? But it's a tourist destination that is sought after from everyone in the Lower Mainland, and lots of people from out of town come to visit it as well. So if you're going to relocate here, just be prepared that in the summertime it is incredibly busy. I've got two more for you. One is that, well, real estate in White Rock is pretty expensive compared to its counterparts in, let's say, South Surrey or maybe Cloverdale or other areas just, a short drive away from White Rock. There's a little bit of a prestige to living in the neighborhood, and since a lot of the properties may have views with them, you tend to spend a little bit more money on them. And the properties tend to be built with a little bit of flair because, hey, it's White Rock. It's a pretty, prestigious community. So be prepared when you're coming here that houses are probably going to be a little more expensive than maybe some that you've been looking at online that don't actually fall into the actual White Rock boundary. And the last tip that I really want you to take away is if you are buying in the area and you're buying something with a view, you need to be very aware of the zoning and the restrictions in the area, especially for anything kind of facing south or wherever your view is kind of located, because you don't want to lose that. This has happened to many, many people over the years, including people who bought in the original Miramar Towers, these two incredible, beautiful concrete towers that went up in Upper White Rock, where many people bought into them only to learn about 6 years later that there was two other towers going up directly in front of them, almost essentially eliminating their ocean views. This might be a good time to mention as well, we did a video on our top 5 reasons why you might consider not moving to White Rock as well, just to give you a more balanced opinion on what might be good for you and your family's future if you have considered relocating here. So we'll make that available in the description as well. So hopefully after watching this video, you now know a little bit more about the community in White Rock and what it is like to live here and what you could expect to find when you move here. You also might want to check out our Living in White Rock playlist on this YouTube channel where we talk about everything White Rock so you know exactly what's going on in the community and with everything to do with real estate. If you're a local watching this video, I would love you to comment below and let me know if there's anything I missed, letting people know about the great things about White Rock in this video. And if you're someone coming from out of town, let us know in the comments about why you're coming from out of town. And if you want to speak to us about helping you find a great property for you and your family in the White Rock area, be sure to make use of the tools below to contact us and we'll help you get set up for success. Hey guys, I'm Darren from the German Group. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for subscribing, and we'll definitely look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.